You're currently looking at is the map of Israel, and we're going to be discussing its history from 1900 to 2023. Alright, let's begin. When the 20th century began, Israel was a part of the Ottoman Empire, and its entire history records its Jews being enslaved and dominated by foreign powers that used to exist a long time ago for thousands of years, especially in the ancient era when the Egyptians had control of the Jews. Fortunately, Ottoman rule would not last long. During World War I, the British and the French helped the Arabs revolt against Ottoman rule. Under the Arab Revolt, though some Jews did revolt against Ottoman rule, but it was mostly Arabs who revolted against the Ottoman Empire having control of them. The Arab Revolt was over by the end of World War I, and many of those Arabs who revolted against Ottoman rule, they expected the British and the French help them seek sovereignty, right? Oh my god, did they just have to make their mandates? However, the Jews did not mind being under a British mandate because the British wanted the British Mandate of Palestine that the Jews were a part of to be the national home of every Jew around the world. And as soon as all Jews from diaspora heard this saying from the British, they flocked from outside to Palestine. But they also crushed the Arab demographic of the population of the newborn Mandate of Palestine. And this started the beef between the Jews and the Arabs. But the Jews continued to come to Palestine anyway, especially in the 30s, and even those who were frightened by Hitler's rise, power, fame, and brutality. Luckily, Hitler never went to Israel and killed the Jews there, but the 500,000 Jews that survived World War II were kicked out of Europe and they were forced to spend the rest of their lives either in the US, who had the highest population of Jews out of the Americas, or in Palestine. Jordan split from Palestine in 1946, but in the same year, the Irgun bombed King David Hotel, which is, by the way, my favorite hotel out of all hotels all around the world. Do you agree with me? In 1947, the UN came up with a resolution where they basically split Palestine into thirds. One for the Jews, one for the Arabs, and Jerusalem to be a neutral international zone. The Arabs rejected, but the Jews agreed to this idea. And it was too late and everything spilled into violence. After thousands of years of foreign domination, on May 14th, 1948, Israel finally proclaimed their independence with the help of the US. The two countries have been friends ever since. And the next day, the Arabs and the Israelis fight in the Arab-Israeli Civil War. The Arabs thought that this was gonna be easy. Darling, there's not even a chance that you're gonna win this time now, aren't you? See what I mean? The Israelis won. And Turkey, who used to be the Ottoman Empire that enslaved Israel's Jews, Turkey was the first country to recognize Israel's independence in March 1949, and the two countries have been friends since. And the economy was in shambles until in 1952, West Germany sent reparation money to Israel to make them rich as an apology for the Holocaust. In 1956, Israel was involved in the Suez Crisis, so Israel, France, and Britain all wanted to take the Suez Canal from Egypt, and then everything escalated into violence, and overall, Egypt won and kept control of the Suez Canal. In 1967, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria prepared for invasion on Israel, but nobody expected Israel to strike first. And in 6 days, Israel won, taking the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip from Egypt, the West Bank from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. And this was the greatest extent that Israel reached in its history. And in 1968, Israel became malaria-free. In 1973, Israel's Jews were celebrating a Jewish holiday called Yom Kippur, and on the same day of Yom Kippur War. And again, Israel won. Luckily, in 1979, Egypt and Jordan improved their relations by signing some diplomatic ties, and now they are friends. Lebanon invaded in 1982 in the Lebanese War, and again, Israel won. And then Jordan improved its relations with Israel by signing diplomatic ties in 1994. Now Israel can only get along with two Arab countries, Egypt and Jordan. In 2006, Lebanon invaded Israel again in the Second Lebanese War. But a UN-brokered ceasefire ended the war in stalemate. In 2008, a bunch of Palestinians were firing rockets at Israel, and it was Gaza War. And by 2009, Israel won. Again, the Israeli Defense Force had to get smarter, and got smarter by inventing the Iron Dome defense system, which shoots bombs at enemy rockets to prevent rocket attacks. Meanwhile, a Palestinian nationalist organization, Hamas, kidnapped 3 Israeli teenagers, leading to 2014's Operation Solid Rock, leading to... Okay, at this point I didn't even have to tell you. Then the US recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital on December 6, 2017. And finally, Israel improves its relations with Arab League member states. And here we are today. Israel is insanely rich with an equal GDP to Norway's GDP that is worth $479 billion, the 19th most developed country in the world, and has one of the highest life expectancies in the world. The next episode is going to be on Europe's meme capital, Poland, so stay tuned. Do widzenia.